Hello everybody. In this video I want to show you how to work with Excel files based on Python. Work means we have to read, to write Excel files, and in between we have to modify. Okay? So let's start. Here you can see that I already prepared a structure, 7 points, and of course we will start with reading Excel files. In order to do this we need a certain library. And the name of the library is pandas, and as a shortcut we use PD. So based on this library we are able to read our Excel file. So the Excel file we want to read, you can see here we have stresses, strains, time and displacement in it, and the name is Z3 minus ORI. This is what we want to read. Okay, let's use our pandas library. And the method we have to use is just read Excel. Okay, so here you can see we have to give an IO, that means the name of our Excel file, Z3 minus ORI dot XLSX. Okay, so this is the name of the Excel file, and of course we have several sheets here, sample 1, 4, 5, and we want to read the sheet sample 1. So it means here we give the name of the sheet. Okay, then in our case there's something special, and let's go back to the Excel file. The special thing is we have a second row for the units here. And usually what pandas expects is just the first row with the names of the columns and then the data. So we have to skip this second row. This is not complicated because again here we have a special command, skip rows, and we give the name for the rows, or the range, sorry, for the rows we have to skip, and we skip from 1 to 2, and that's all. Okay, so let's run it, and okay, nothing happened, because we now have the Excel file inside the memory of the machine, but we don't have any access. So we need a special variable, and I call this df for data frame, and just input the data frame for the input. And now when I run it again, okay, I can have a look here to my variable explorer, and here I see df int, this is the name of the variable, and the type is data frame. And by double clicking, okay, here I see what I have in my Excel files. Strain, stress, time and displacement. Okay? And based on this, on the name of the data frame, I have access. For example, I can check the length of my data. And again, there's a special function. And yes, I just give df underline int, this is the name. And when I run it and check it here, for example, I see the length of my data in my data frame or in my Excel file. Okay. So the next thing what we want to do is that we want to add a new column to our data frame. And in order to do this, I create a NumPy array with my function np.zeros, and the length should be n. So this is just a NumPy array. Here I have still a problem because I have to import again NumPy as np. Okay, so that means here I just create a one-dimensional array. Okay, I can run it and check it. This is my one-dimensional array I just created, filled with zeros. And now I want to add this to my data frame. Okay, so df underline int square brackets, and the name of the new column should be counter, and the content of the new column is the content of my NumPy array counter. So run it again and check the data frame, and now you can see I have an additional column here which is called counter in blue, and here I have my zeros. In order to modify these zeros to something different, it makes sense to work not on this data frame directly. It makes sense to switch to a NumPy array. So that means I move the content of my data frame to a NumPy array. I call this NumPy array just data, and there's a special function, and the name of the special function, of course, is toNumPy. Okay, so that's all. That means, except the names of the columns, I move all the numbers of the data frame to the NumPy array. When I run it and I check it here, I see, okay, I created a NumPy array. So now I can work on my data. And one very small example is just I make a loop over my data field, so in range from 0 to n, so it means about all the lines. And what I want to do is that I modify the zeros I created. So this is column number 4, the counter is E, and I use the E again for the content of the new column. Okay. So here seems to be that something is wrong. Undefined name E. So because here I used an if, I have to use the for. Okay, for a loop. This was the idea, to do a loop and not a if. Okay, so now I run it again and I modified the column here, number 4 of my NumPy array. Okay, so now before I can save the data I created, I modified to Excel file, I have to move the data back to a data frame, because the communication between Excel and Python is always about the data frame. The difference between a data frame and a NumPy array is that we have the names of the columns in addition. Okay, so that means we have to create a new data frame, and I call it df output data frame. And of course we have a special function in order to do the job, and the special function or method is called data frame. So okay, so now what comes next is a bit new, because now I start to use curly brackets. Curly brackets I use in order to create a dictionary, and a dictionary is nothing else than that I create a name for a set of data, and the name I use will be the name of the columns of my Excel file. So the name of the first column should be, in my case, counter. Okay, that's the idea. Oh, sorry, that's the idea. And the data related to this name comes from my NumPy array, and I use all the rows and the column number 4. This is my counter I created. Okay, and for the moment that's all. Okay, so let's try to create an Excel file based on this new data frame. And here, okay, we have to use our data frame, df out, we created, and we have a special method, and the special method, of course, is toExcel. Okay, df out toExcel. So now we have to give the name of the new Excel file. That's 3 and yes, mod for modified .xlsx. Okay, and of course we can again say that we need a sheet name, or we want to use a sheet name, and again we can use sample 1. Okay, so let's try and run it. Okay, first we check our output data frame, and you see I just have an index and the counter. This is our output data frame. And now we look for the Excel file we've created. This is here the mod. And at the moment, okay, this is similar to the data frame. First column is the index and second column is the counter. Okay, the index is not what we usually want. That's the reason why here we can add index equals false, and then the index is no longer an Excel file. And of course here we have to add some additional data. So means instead only counter, of course we can add strain, and maybe we remember strain was on column number 0, data column number 0. Okay, so run it again. Okay, check the data frame. Now we have the counter here, the strain here, and check the Excel file. Okay, so the index is removed. Now we just have the counter and the strain, and of course I can add in addition the stress and so on. Okay, so that's all for the moment for reading an Excel file, move the content of the Excel file to a NumPy array, modify the NumPy array, move the content of the NumPy array to a new data frame, and write a new Excel file. Okay, this is a standard procedure we will need when we work in a lab. So we will take data which are coming from our testing machine. Okay, we will work on this data and we will create new Excel files based on what we modified. Okay, that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching and bye bye.